I'm Tony Poulos. Today I'm with Sebastian Barros, who is the Head of Consulting and Systems Integration for OSS/BSS at Ericsson in the Southeast Asia and Oceania region. Sebastian, welcome. Great to have you here. A couple of questions for you. Firstly, why is customer experience management so important these days?
Well, I think for this region, customer experience matters because every single year, around 30 to 50% of customers churn from one operator to another. And one of the main reasons is unfulfilled promises. Now, besides that, you see an increasing competition in saturated markets. You see also over-the-top players scamming and eating part of the revenues of operators. So, to some extent, customer experience stands as a way for operators to differentiate besides competing on price. Now, I think what is important to say there is that we also see that operators need to move from the typical service-centric or product-centric view to enrich and have an experience addressing the whole journey. Now, I think what is also important and why experience matters is because experience in our research and our experience, we have seen three main levers. The first one that affects directly operational efficiency. Once you put the customer in the middle, you start making things in a more simplified way and in a more customer-centric way. The second one is that you're able to optimize revenues. Now, when you provide a better experience, people use more and more of your services. And last but not least, I think is to increase the lifetime value of the customer. Of course, if people is happy with you, they will advocate and they will stay longer in your company. So customer experience in Southeast Asia is really something that matters.
And what are the key obstacles to implementing customer experience initiatives these days?
I think this is very interesting. You know, we have done a big research here with all our operators. We interview more than 100 C-suites in Southeast Asia. And well, the first feedback was 71% of them believe that customer experience is key for them to differentiate in the market. That's maybe a no-brainer. But what was more interesting is that 80% of them believes that the experience they're providing to their users today is either average or below. And the question is, why is that gap? We have found that there are 5 obstacles that are really stopping operators to capitalize on experience. The first one is related to how you measure experience. Today it's very much silo-based. Each department will have their own way to measure experience, as it's not really put into a whole journey perspective. You don't have an end-to-end perspective of the customer. Second one is a silo-based approach. Each department will have their own programs to improve the experience, but nobody's necessarily coordinating that across the company and also trying to see what is the real impact on their business performance and strategy. The third one is related to a lack of technologies, systems, and processes that help you to really monitor things near real time and automate it in an automated way. And I think last but not least is lack of KPIs that create an incentive for people to drive, to have an attitude towards customer experience, but also to drive the right culture. So there are many aspects that are really creating issues for operators to capitalize on the experience.
What is Ericsson's answer and approach to address these challenges?
I think one of the things we have realized is that customer experience is a vast area. Anything you can claim as customer experience, right? So I think the most important fact is to have a strategic approach. It's important to have a top-down approach. And in that sense, we have summarized that strategic approach in 3 steps. 3 steps to capitalize on customer experience. The first step is really to identify and prioritize what is important in your relationship with the customer. You have, in a typical life cycle of a customer, more than 100 or 200 interactions. Not all of them will create a big impact in their advocacy. You need to select which ones of those you want to differentiate and where your customers feel that is more important for them to build that relationship. Once you have that journey in mind for your key segments, you need to move to the second step, which is to monitor and analyze the experience. And for that, you need to be able to extract the information from different sources, being able to correlate it, and being able also to make sense of it and have a way to understand what does it mean and what kind of experience you're providing. Now, step 1 or 2 doesn't mean anything unless you do something about it, and which is the third step, transform the experience. And here I think is one of the key challenges, because many operators believe that that's just to launch a project and let it go. The reality is that transforming experiences is about having an overlay on the top of organization that really run across every single department and try to improve those key interactions you have analyzed and identify, and also the ones where you have identified or monitor issues. And that's the only way to have a consistent view. So these 3 steps, we believe, are the way to address strategically customer experience.
And what do you think is Ericsson's value proposition in terms of portfolio?
I think we have a very broad portfolio, but maybe today I would like to share a little bit about what we are doing in the OSS/BSS domain. We believe that this is one of the fundamental areas for customer experience and where we can really support operators. The main reason is because when we look customer experience, we see a lot of operators having challenges when it comes to automation, being able to optimize certain processes, being able to ensure that the quality of service they're providing is the right one, being able to have a fast time to market, being able to have also first-time resolution. So when you call, you are able to get a solution and not just talk, right? So all those areas that I mentioned before are related to the OSS/BSS domain. There is another one big aspect on the experience that we have noticed in Southeast Asia, and it's very relevant. We see a transition from voice-driven customers to data-driven customers. That means that you will need to also have very flexible ways of providing offerings, new packages, and new alternatives for them to use data. Moreover, when someone takes a smartphone, they use it not as a voice device, but as a way to communicate with a networked society. That means that also you will need to give them choices for using as a mobile commerce tools, for payments and so forth, essentially as a everyday life tool. And in that sense, OSS/BSS portfolio is where we are putting a lot of efforts to help operators in these areas.
And how are your latest acquisitions adding to your CEM strategy?
I think, as I mentioned before, OSS/BSS is one of our key focus areas. We are the market leader when it comes to software and services. And I think the acquisitions we have done lately in terms of Telcoria and ConceptWave help us to broaden and deepen the end-to-end view we have on OSS/BSS. So if I take one example, for instance, Telcoria is adding a portfolio related to service assurance, Service Director, one of the leading software for service assurance and monitoring, but also is helping us when it comes to inventory management, which is one of the key elements for a faster time to market. Now, if I take ConceptWave, for instance, is now adding into our CRM portfolio, and I think that's a key area because we believe that operators or users are moving from, yes, the traditional customer care, call center, branches, to self-service, online, website channels, social media. And I think in that sense, ConceptWave will help us a lot to have this end-to-end perspective on OSS/BSS, which is essentially what you need for customer experience and where we believe we can help better our operators.
Sebastian Barros, thanks for being with me and thanks for outlining Ericsson's CEM strategy.
Thank you very much, Tony.